This meeting to order. First item is the consent agenda. Does anybody on the council have any questions on the consent agenda? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented and authorize the mayor to sign it.
I'll second.
Bell.
Aye.
Hayes. Aye. Beckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye. Thank you. Next up, we have comments from the public. This first section of comments from the public are for items not on the agenda. We are going to open up. I know a lot of you are here for the ball field discussion. We will open it up one more time if you have a ball field related comment. But just a reminder, their comments only, not question and answer. And if you could keep them under 3 minutes and state your name and address when you get to the podium, please. So is there anybody that has anything not on the agenda? Okay. Moving on to old business. First, the 2018 fire code adoption. We had the hearing for this last week. No comments from the public. Anybody have any questions? Any more clarification needed? Probably not.
Nope, I don't think so.
We talked about it
Yes.
quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Do you have something? You're gonna make a motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, you're ready.
We're ready.
All right, I move to adopt ordinance number 3195, incorporating by reference the 2018 edition of the International Fire Code.
I second the motion. Bell.
Aye.
Hayes. Aye. Beckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye. All right, thank you. And now the 2018 building code adoption, same thing. No comments from the public last time at our hearing. And we've been over this.
I move to adopt ordinance number 3196, incorporating by reference the 218 edition of the International Building Code.
I'll second.
Bell.
Aye.
Hayes. Aye. Beckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna move. So the ball fields are actually new business item 4E. We're gonna go ahead and move those to 4A right now. And just a reminder that this project as a whole has already been voted on and passed by the council. Tonight, we're just discussing the site plan itself. If anybody has any further comments for council before we consider voting on this, you can step to the podium at this time and give your name and address. And please keep it under 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jay Whelan, 221 Brookside Drive in Paola, and I feel like I'm home. I'm away from home. I don't know how many hours I spent in this room. I just would really like to address the council very quickly tonight concerning an article that, or an editorial or a letter to the editor that appeared in the newspaper. I think there were some things in there that were left out or were really not clarified as much as they needed to be clarified. So I just really wanted to touch on a couple of very quick issues if I could. Number one was that I think everybody needs to understand that the city did not approach the Legion on the transfer of the property to the city, the ball fields to the city. The city was approached by both the Legion and the Paola Baseball Association and Softball Association at that time. So that needs to be clarified. It was not a case of the city ever taking the initiative on that. The second point I'd like to make is that I spent a lot of time during the latter part of 2016 and 2017 visiting with both of these two gentlemen on how we could set up an agreement, how things could be set up. Met with the baseball committee of the Legion, as did Scott Gillespie, and discussed some of the problems that would be involved because of the agreement between the Russell estate and the quitclaim deed that had titled that property over to the Legion, there was a revisionary or reversionary. I need the attorney. And that part of it made it very difficult. And because the way it was written was, if it was no longer ball fields or park use, public use as a park, then it went back to the family. So we had to be very concerned and do a lot of research on that. That took a lot of time. So I would agree with the editorial writer on the fact that it did take a lot of time, but there were a lot of issues involved. Lots and lots of issues. In addition to that, you know, there was some comment in there about, you know, the city taking additional property. There was never any additional property added to the agreement other than what was in the Russell quitclaim deed. So all the land that was involved was in that quitclaim deed, and that's what the city and the Legion agreed on. The building was exempted by that agreement, and quite frankly, there was never any discussion of the city taking the land underneath the building. Never. I think that these gentlemen, and I know that I did, certainly felt the way the agreement was written, it just said building, parking lot, and the land was just a given. That was part of the whole thing. There was never any intent on the city to have the land underneath the Legion building or the parking. There is no reason we would ever want to do that. Because I know some of you in this room will remember that we had an agreement with the Ursuline Sisters where we had the community center, but we didn't have land under the building. When we went to do the bond issue for renovation of the community center, it was an absolute nightmare because we didn't own the land under the building. So there is no way that I would have ever suggested or been a part of any agreement that would have taken the land underneath the building and given it to the city and not to the owners of the building, the lot. No way. Been through that, wouldn't do that again. So, I can see Lee's County, my team, having worked with Lee and most of the rest of the people in here, they know that 3 minutes for me is almost an impossible. The only one that I'm better at it than that person is the city attorney. But I do want to say thank you to the city council, the mayor, and the city staff for all your hard work, not just on this project, but also on everything you do for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, what Jay said. My name is Pete Bell, 209 North Castle, Paola. I'm the finance officer for Legion. I'm the author of the letter. There was nothing untrue in the letter. We've had many, many meetings, including with this lady, not that lady, and the former city manager and the former city clerk on this issue. It's true that we and the baseball people first had the meetings 2017, and we came to the city because we could no longer afford Legion ball, et cetera, et cetera. Are you gonna limit my time here?
3 minutes, please.
Huh?
Just 3 minutes.
You know, you refuse to let us speak at every meeting we've been to.
Well,
And if I can't finish in 3 minutes, whatever it is, I request permission to go a little further. Can I have that?
I asked that you keep it close to 3 minutes, please.
I'll try to keep it close to 3
Okay.
minutes. Anyway, what Jay says is half true. The city would have never intended to take that ground under our building. The problem is they have. And they've also admitted it in offering to deed it back to us, which acknowledges they took it. Furthermore, the plan that the baseball people have come up with involves a baseball field that will not fit on the footprint that was given to you. What was given to you, what was voted on by our members was everything east of that vacated street that was specifically identified as the ball field. Now, we're not talking about Russell. The whole Russell property is out of this topic. ball field straight east of our building, the parking lot straight east of our building, the batting cages and any excess ground we out there toward the floodplain was all included what we were gifting to the city. So we're not the villains for gifting this to the city. We went back and forth many times, and I was the liaison, and many times I had to talk to the Legion members at meetings about, some of them didn't want to give up the parking because of an obvious problem we still have now. And so I would go to Jay, and Jay told me, and I'm assuming he's a truthful man, this is exactly what we talked about. He said they had to have all three of those or the deal's off: parking, ball field, batting cage. Our members at that time, this is way back, I don't know exactly when, because this spanned 3 years. Our members voted to begin the process of giving them those three items. Nothing about the street next to our parking, which we can't access the parking without the street. Nothing about encroaching on our southern property, which is what they've done. You've already started construction encroaching on our southern property. So we're not trying to be dishonest. 2 months ago, we didn't know any of this was going on because our commander died. We have no paperwork as far as the agreement or the deed. We discovered this 2 or 3 months ago. It's only been a few months. So we're starting to dig in and try to figure out what's going on here. If you read the agreement, it says the Legion owns all the ground. The city will take all the ground except for the building and the paid parking directly east of the building. That's what it says in black and white. It says they're taking the ground except for the building and the parking. So we get concerned. We come, and I've personally been and talked to these people. And I've been personally assured you would resolve this before you sign the contract. 2 or 3 days later, this contract is signed. That's completely dishonest. We talked about trying to rectify this without being here tonight, without me writing a letter to the paper. It would have been very simple. Maybe they couldn't fit it. I don't understand why the baseball people haven't surfaced this at all. Why did you design a ball field that won't fit in the space you have? So you have to take our ground that's outside. Why? Should have been part of the planning process. And maybe there's something we could have worked out where we said, okay, maybe make it up 10 feet or so we can drive through there or whatever, instead of landing on our pavement on the corner over there and just doing it. And every time we've interacted, we've been told, you don't like it, get a lawyer. You don't like it, sue yourself. And we try to be quiet about all this, and we try to be respectful. We've taken some pretty good insults at some of these meetings and said nothing about it. And it's not very professional. I don't think this whole project has been very well managed from the beginning. You got no bid contracts, you got no realistic communication going on. We knew there was a problem. You didn't try to solve the problem 2 months ago. We're now going to be forced to get an attorney because there's been no effort on the city's part to rectify the issue. Any person with common sense, if you read that agreement, would know no idiot would sign that in the right mind. I think what's happened is it took so long and went back and forth so much that somehow the commander got convinced that this was our agreement and signed off on it. And then, you know, from my letter to the editor, there was, you know, date changes without signatures and other stuff like that in there, which is not legal. Anyway, we're not pleased with the way we've been treated. All we wanted was to keep the ground under our building, and all we wanted to do is donate the 4, whatever it is, acres east of the street. You devalued our building by taking all the way up to our pavement and coming in on the sides. We've got no access around there. If we ever want to sell the building, who's going to buy it with access to 2 sides? That's all I've got. I appreciate Jay coming in. Finally, someone's come forward.
Anybody else have anything?
I'll be pretty quick.
Thanks.
Scott Gluski, 33105 Harmony Road. I'm here. At the time when all this started, I was the president of Pell Youth Baseball and was part of the American Legion Baseball Board. And that is correct. We, Pell Baseball, went to the city and asked them if we could convince the Legion to donate their ground if the city would take it, because we needed improvements down there and it seemed like they were the best source to get that done. So I approached, I think it was Mike and John at the time. We kind of had a discussion and we discussed it with Jay, and then there was a meeting down at the Legion. between, I think they had a commander or something that was not part of your group was there. Somebody out of the local legion. So that's how it very first got started. So that, and after that, what Jay said about all the deeds and all that, we were pretty much out of it after that. So, but what I did want to say is, I know not everybody's going to be happy. I get it. I've been involved in that 100 times. But I do appreciate everything that everybody's done. Jay's part, even the Legion's part, the city. This is something that the kids in the community really, really need. And everybody will benefit 2-3 years from now when it's all done. I think that everybody sees it and realizes the rewards that everybody, including the businesses in town, will get out of these tournaments and other things. I think everybody will be happy and they'll forget about all the problems we had to get here. But I just want to say thanks to all of you for, I know it's a lot of work and you take a lot of hits, I get it, but I just appreciate it. From LU Sports, we appreciate everything you guys are trying to do to help us. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Site plan.
At the October 18th planning commission meeting, commissioners voted 4-2 to recommend approval of the final site plan submitted by Mammoth Sports Construction for the construction of 2 new synthetic turf fields, replacing the one existing natural turf fields. The site plan was completed by CEI Engineering Associates and reviewed by Wilson and Company. The total area disturbance for this project is 4.06 acres, which includes the extension of the existing gravel parking lot on the north side of the fields. All comments received from Wilson and Company have been satisfied by Mammoth Sports Construction, who has also submitted the required notice of intent and stormwater pollution prevention plan to the state of Kansas, which has also been approved. It's also important to note that the city has been in contact with Kansas Gas Company, and there is an existing franchise agreement in place. Should the line need to be rerouted, it would be at the expense of the gas company. Furthermore, on that, I was in contact with the gas company today and received an email that states when Andrew, the local rep, got back from his site visit, he said the depth of the gas line were good. He had met with the Mitch, the local rep for Mammoth Contracting, and stated that there should not be an issue and to reach out to him directly if for some reason this will involve relocation. So that has been noted and approved. Parking provided with the north gravel lot 67 spots and the west gravel lot 32, which required 1 for 4 feet of bleacher or 30 per field, which 30 per field would be the greater. In addition, Public Works is constructing a walking trail that will connect the Paola pool to the north gravel lot that will add an additional available 90 spots. On the south side of Wallace Street, it is intended to remove the fence to allow parking in that gravel strip, if you're familiar with the area between Julie Silverfield and the original Legion ball field. It was noted at Planning Commission that additional handicap parking needed to be hard surface. We reached out to Mammoth Construction and they provided 3 options for that to happen, which is included in your packet. Lighting for the project is restricted to 80 feet pole heights. Submitted is 70 feet. There will also be 1 outfield pole on the west field that will include a dusk to dawn parking light for the north gravel parking lot. So the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan 4-2 with the following conditions: resolution of the gas line issue, which was noted in the email today, and satisfy any concerns with the public parking coordination between the Legion and recreational activities. So if the city council would wish to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve the site plan for the Wallace Park ball fields.
Does anybody have any further questions about this? Go ahead.
Steve, Hellman, did you want to talk about this at all?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
She
He reiterated what we agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
I would like to say that I wrote down. I went to the planning commission meeting and I wrote down what was recommended, and it says the finalization of the Legion legal agreement.
That is
That's
correct.
part of it.
I was clarifying, an easier way to clarify would be to satisfy that. Their main issue with the parking.
No, it wasn't just parking. It was the whole agreement. Yes, it was. It
Okay,
was the whole.
so if you go back and listen to them, I understand that is,
It was the whole agreement.
so
It
I
wasn't
just, okay, I understand that's confusing, but if you go back and you were there, and if you go back and listen to the YouTube, you can tell that. Due to the fact that I was told to not bring up the Legion agreement because for legal advice. That Calvin was having a hard time coming up with a motion, and up until that point, he was trying to come up with a motion to satisfy the parking arrangements between the Legion and us. He brought up the whole public versus private parking. How are you going to allow so many spots on a Friday night? That is what we alluded to.
There was parking, but it was also the agreement with the American Legion. It had to be finalized.
I'm gonna defer that to Lee Tetweather.
He wasn't there.
And he's my city attorney. I'm deferring it to Lee Tetweather.
Well, I don't have any idea what agreement you're talking about.
The agreement,
Well, there is an agreement. The agreement is dated December 2nd of 2019. I mean, the agreement and the deed are in place.
Recommendation.
So for the life of me, I'm not sure what we're talking about,
it's,
but I am gonna admonish the council one more time. You know, if you're gonna be talking about breaching a $2 million contract, we've already paid over $1 million. We owe another $1 million on the work that's out there. I mean, it's like this train has left the station. I don't know what we're talking about. But we're talking about it, and I'm gonna ask you all to be careful. If you want to talk about it in great legal detail, we better go into executive session. Because you're gonna have legal liability up to and over $2 million if this contract blows up. I mean, that's just the fact. That doesn't mean we can't talk about it.
it's written right here. It's written right here in our paperwork. It says resolution of the gas line issue and finalization of the Legion legal agreement.
So,
It doesn't say just parking. It says Legion legal agreement, which is the agreement that goes back
Which is,
and which we're not supposed to talk about.
but he has it, he has the agreement.
of course I do, and they don't
So I do
agree,
too.
they don't agree with you, and you're free to say whatever you want, and I think somebody needs to call the question, and let's vote on it. Or we need to go into executive session before you get yourselves in legal trouble.
All I know is what's written here, finalization of the Legion legal agreement. That's all I know.
Leanne, these are just memos. It's not.
It's
set in stone.
recommendation. It
It's-
says recommendation.
Yeah, but on a memo.
I'm ready to make a motion to approve the site plan submitted by Mammoth Sports Construction for the construction of 2 synthetic turf ball fields in Wallace Park.
I second the motion.
Mail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
No,
Now we're gonna be back to the talk of the new business list. 2023 group health insurance renewal.
Really okay.
So. We had expected an extremely large increase in our Blue Cross and Blue Shield this year. Both our broker had indicated that, and our Blue Cross and Blue Shield representative had, we had 3 large claims, a large claim being over $25,000. So we had 3 of those. Blue Cross and Blue Shield went back and looked at our previous history and decided that some of these, this was not our normal trend, and that some of these claims would be resolved, that they are a one-time type thing, maybe surgery. We're not given that kind of information as to what they are. We just know that they're large claims. So they put it out, they were gonna go ahead and just bid it based upon that. And I will just be honest with you and tell you it was a 75% increase. That is the state maximum. And so they were gonna go out and bid it. We had 2 companies turn us down. They wouldn't even look at us. The third one did, it came in at roughly 40%. So Blue Cross and Blue Shield, once they reviewed it, came back and gave us a 19% increase for the year. So we're gonna hope that we have a really good year next year and that we think that we had 2 previous reductions. So this was obviously an outstanding year for us. So that being said, our increase is roughly 19%. Our delta increase is roughly below 2. We haven't had an increase with them for quite a while. So a 2% increase in our general insurance is very minimal to the employees. So with those rates increases, we ask that you approve that.
Do they still do the, we would get that kind of bonus once a year. Our group health insurance, I think it was a pool, is usually around $15,000. I don't remember.
Yeah, I see
Oh,
that's,
work
yeah,
comp, okay.
yeah, I say that's.
I was gonna say, we're probably not gonna be eligible.
Where the money's coming from, but I'd love to have that.
Santa Claus.
Yeah,
So it was a difficult year, so we made no changes in our plan whatsoever. It's easy for the employees, they know it's the same plan we've had for several years. The increase is tolerable, given the fact that the budget was approved for a 75% increase. So that's gonna give us some leeway in that.
anybody on council have any other questions for Vicky? If not, kind of a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal of the city's current group life insurance or group insurance plans with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Delta Dental, Surgency, and MetLife as presented.
I'll second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Shield,
Aye.
And she has one more, I think.
Yep, one more.
Consider the employee Christmas gifts.
There you go.
So employee Christmas gifts, as we all know, every year that's a challenge. This year, I got a little creative. I visited with the auditor and discovered that we actually can run it through our payroll. And we will just simply not withhold federal or state tax out of it. Because it is a fairly insignificant amount. He was comfortable with that for individuals. Now, they are going to pay the state tax and federal taxes on it eventually. If they get a refund when they file their 2022 taxes, it will be decreased by whatever that amount of taxes are. If they get did I say refund? If they have to pay, they're gonna pay a little bit extra. So but it's only the taxes on that $200.
Which won't be anything.
Which should be really probably nothing unless it throws them into a totally different tax bracket. And that being said, we did that because when we did run it through payroll last year, but we ran it through as a separate payroll, and individuals who had extra taking out came home with sometimes very insignificant amounts of Christmas. So that being said, we found a creative way around it. The auditor is good with it. And so therefore we'd like for you to acknowledge our employees with a $200 Christmas bonus.
Good detective work. I move that we approve the processing of the $200 through payroll as a Christmas gift to the city employees.
Second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes, Heckman,
Aye.
Shields,
Aye.
Thank you.
On behalf of the employees, we thank you.
Thank you all. All right. New CMB license for One Stop Convenience LLC.
Yeah, I've had, the owner, Mr. Eric, was opening a convenience store, 604 North Silver, and they're gonna call that One Stop Convenience. So he has applied for his CMB license and submitted the proper application and fee. Since it is a new license, it is on the agenda as its own item. He does believe the store will open before January 1st. So he is applying for the license for the remainder of this year. All CMB licenses expire December 31st, so he will have to renew it in December. The location is under construction, so it's not possible for him to have a safety inspection yet. Once that's done, his license would be contingent on passing that. So we do have the application fee, you need the license before we, even if you approve it, he has to pass that first.
Yeah. Where is 604 North Silver?
It's, next to the old Sonic building,
The old,
Sonic.
Used to be a gas.
Yeah. That used to still be a gas station.
yeah, it's still fine, yeah.
But they're not having fuel, or they are? You don't know?
I thought they were.
I know it's been back, not that it really matters, but.
Yeah, yeah. They will have beer.
Yeah. Any other questions on that? Not kind of motion?
I move to approve a new cereal malt beverage license of One Stop Convenience LLC at 604 North Silver contingent upon a past safety inspection.
I'll second.
Bill,
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Beckman,
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
Thank you. Consideration of Lake Mary campus final site plan.
Okay, at the August 16th Paola Planning Commission meeting, the commissioners reviewed request for site plan approval for the new dormitory and existing building renovation on the Lake Mary campus. The new 17,000 square foot dormitory will house 40 residents, combining 2 existing residential units that are on site. Access to the new dormitory building will be through a newly installed sidewalk system, and also to be installed will be a fire access lane around the entire campus. The planning commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of this plan with the following conditions. Applicant satisfied engineering comments in reference to the drainage plan. Final review with approval from Wilson and Company was received by staff on September 25th. The second condition was applicant perform a drainage plan and study for the west portion to complete a full campus drainage study. The west side drainage study was submitted to Wilson and Company city reviewer. And initial comments were received and forwarded back to Hofer Welker on October 27th. The proposed use and layout is consistent with zoning regulations. And if the city council would like to wish to accept the planning commission's recommendation with conditions and improvement site plan.
Anybody have any questions?
If you have any questions, there are a few representatives here.
Heifer and Wilker. Are they here? And you have had a chance to look at the west side of that
Yes, we've submitted that.
and
We received comments back. Wilson and Company is the civil reviewer of the city. And so I sent their drainage study to Wilson. I received back comments. So now they are working through those comments.
okay. I used to own the house that is west of the Lake Mary campus. The last house there. And boy, there was a lot of water that came down that, but they've really done a lot of work in there to get that channeled, I guess is a good word for it, so. So having said that, are you ready for a motion?
So if you have any questions?
Yeah.
Not,
Okay. I move to approve the site plan for Lake Mary campus with the condition that the applicant satisfies Wilson and Son engineering comments from August 10th, 2022, and satisfy the planning commission condition to complete a drainage study of the west side of the Lake Mary campus.
I'll second that.
Mail,
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Beckman,
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
thank you. All right, moving on to committee reports, which we don't have. I don't think. Staff reports. Lee, do you have anything additional?
No, Mayor,
Chief?
just that we are working on planning for our annual shop at the cop program. So we got the grant in from Walmart on that. So our officers are working with Copwood and Sunflower to identify 10 students that would does benefit from that. So it's an exciting time of the year for us.
Good, that's a good program.
Did you say 50?
15, 10 students.
10 students.
Yeah. So I must have been-
$50, gotcha. That was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably 50.
Kirk, do you have anything? Stephanie?
I would typically have a report on election results, but today being election day, I don't have that. So I did want to remind you that if Trent were to win Ward 2, since he's the only name on the ballot, it will be open again for anyone interested to fill the seat. Debbie can definitely. for that one. We kept your letter, so if anyone.
Get on the right one again.
That will be another thing at our December meeting.
Okay. Randy, Jessica?
We have planning commission meeting next week, and on the agenda is a site plan approval for Taylor Forge, so. Good, going on.
Yep. All right. Dave, do you have anything else?
No.
Debbie?
No.
Kathy?
Yes. Regarding the consent agenda, on there were the percentages of where we are in the budget. And there are some that pretty darn close, and we've still got a month and a half to go, if not more. I don't know what the city's procedure is to, because what they're doing, and mostly it is the administrative fund. If their abuse would take away from another fund or another position,
So
department.
it would be the full general fund, so all of those, like administration. It includes police department, fire department, all of those, so if one were to go over a little, another one could make up for it. So it's just a very end number in the whole general fund that we're.
Well, I just, you know that I look at those all the time, so I'm a little concerned. I don't know how we can snap down on that particular department, but and it may be, Randy, it may be one of those jobs that's hidden. I don't know, but it's concerning. And we all should be, and I think we are, because it's taxpayer money. So I'm bringing that up just to let everybody know my feelings on it, and that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Leanne, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. I just want to thank council and staff. I know it's been challenging working through some stuff lately. Just want to say thank you for working hard to serve your people. And the last thing we have is an executive session. And I think if you guys saw your packet, Stephanie helped us out a little bit. We don't have to say the number of minutes and the time now, we just have to say the time. And I would guess it's probably gonna be a little bit lengthy. It's hard to tell since it's evaluation. So I would say probably 30 minutes. So we can just say 7:10 to come back in.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss the evaluation and contract for the city manager. Pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception, KSA 754319B1. Meeting shall include the mayor and the council, city attorney, and the city manager. Regular meeting shall reconvene in the municipal courtroom at 7:10.
Got a second?
A second.
Sam.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Heckman.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
That's okay.
I considered that. I didn't know if it made it easier or harder.
No, it would be better.
Somebody want to make a motion to reconvene?
Get one coordinator,
It can be.
Well, it can be-
Second.
if you don't mind.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Ekman,
Aye.
Shields.
Aye. All right. Now we can have a motion to adjourn. Are we staying or?
Okay, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Aye.
Oh, aye. Ekman. Shields.